Alright, now I'm just gonna have to respond to two particular segments of the original video because the last time I tried to respond to the video in full, even as a live stream, it gets yanked down by YouTube a week later because some dipshit behind the keyboard is just banging on the report key like a fucking monkey, smashing a fucking telephone with a hammer trying to make the noise stop coming from the receiving end of it. So yeah. This is not going to be a full response to the entire goddamn video, because I know that if I do, I'm going to get hit with some stupid bullshit again, because the site's algorithm is apparently ran by crackhead chimpanzees. So I'm going to have to take two distinct parts of the video to respond to, and give my thoughts about how I believe the video was conducted as a whole. So I guess this is going to be my response to Autism Every Day, the 7-minute version. But I'm going to have to pick only two particular parts to actually show in this fucking video, because I know that if I try to use the full thing with or without any type of criticism or commentary interjected in it, I'm going to get hit for some stupid bullshit on YouTube. So with that out of the way, let's begin.
And the parents who were going out for bagels together and are like, oh, do you want to come for a bagel? And I think, yes, in another life, I'd love to come for a bagel. But right now, I have to write down what he's doing so we can go home and work on that. And then I have to take the other two to therapy.
Weird. It's almost like when you're a parent, you're expected to do parental duties. And because of that, you may have to lose out on things here and there to ensure that your child has what they need to survive and thrive in their home, that you live with them under your care and supervision as their primary guardian and caretaker. It's almost like, as an adult who has kids, you are responsible for their well-being and safety. And you are basically complaining that one of them is disabled, and bitching about it as though they chose to be disabled, just so your lard ass couldn't get a fucking bagel. You could literally go any day that there's not something going on, and get one. The entirety of this video, up to this goddamn point, you and the other women featured here were all complaining about your kids being disabled, basically pissing and moaning because the children didn't turn out like perfect carbon copies of every other kid in their fucking class. People like you are the reason that adults mask, is because they're afraid they're going to be looked at as an inconvenience, because they're afraid that if they try to be any bit open with their condition or how it works, they're going to essentially be branded as a fucking freak or as a burden to the people around them, whether it be friends, family, or co-workers, acquaintances, what have you. And it's because of people like you that adults that have that condition basically just say, fuck it, I'm not going to be nearly as open with what I think or what I say about things, because realistically I know that no matter what I do, I'm not going to be looked at in a positive way, because there are people like this that walk the fucking earth who actually believe the shit they say when they complain about their children, as though their children chose to be a fucking hindrance to their free time. You had kids. You knew the moment that you had them that they were going to be a big chunk of your time. You don't get to complain just because one of them's on spectrum, because realistically speaking, it was probably your genes that made this boy this way. Not only that, but you're complaining about it as though you getting a bagel or not getting a bagel will somehow unfuck your life up. It won't. You getting a bagel is not going to bring the father of your children back. It's not going to make your son neurotypical. It is not going to do fucking anything. It is literally just a small leisure activity a handful of people do when they're middle-aged housewives with nothing else going on and they know they can't get blackout drunk. That's literally it. It's basically just a substitution for a bunch of middle-aged divorcee winos to go get drunk. It's basically just go get bagels and piss and moan about their life's problems. Where'd my youth go? Where'd my youth? It's usually shit like that. It's usually stupid shit like that where people are complaining about their life, while at the same time not acknowledging the fact that they're a fucking parent and they're going to have parental responsibilities. I imagine the reason these kids are going to go to fucking therapy is because you act like a fucking crazy person in the household screaming at their autistic little brother who doesn't understand why the fuck you're yelling at him, because realistically you look and sound like the kind of fucking parent who seems soft-spoken in public but then probably beats the shit out of their children. I don't care what anyone fucking says to me about me saying that, because realistically this is the kind of fucking facade this lady puts up to me. This is the kind of vibe I'm reading. I read the kind of vibe that says, yeah, she's nice in public, but when her kids are behind closed doors, you best watch your back. Otherwise, that fist is going to come flying across your face next.
And I was a grown woman afraid of the phone ringing because it was the school principal calling me saying she had bitten someone, or she had kicked a kid, or she had hit a teacher. There are parents who are forced to put kids in schools that are completely overcrowded and 12 kids and one teacher, and the kids don't make progress. But I remember that was a very scary moment for me when I realized I had sat in the car for about 15 minutes and actually contemplated putting Jody in the car and driving off the George Washington Bridge. And that.
So you're saying that instead of maybe putting your child in an environment where they might possibly get the attention that they require in the way that they need it, so that the odds are they can make, albeit maybe minimal progress, but progress nevertheless, you straight up just sat there for nearly 20 minutes contemplating committing a murder-suicide against your 8.5-year-old and yourself. Why the fuck are you allowed to be a parent? Like, if you're that stressed to the point to where you actually start putting thought into axing your kid and yourself because life just isn't going the way that you'd hoped, then you need to put that child up for fucking adoption. I'm serious. If you straight up sit there and truly contemplate murdering a small child because they prove to be difficult to manage, that is not a sign that you're a good parent. That is a sign that you have some serious mental health issues that are probably not being looked at and most likely not being treated. And at worst, you're a completely callous fucking asshole who does not care for their fucking children because you straight up talk about this with her in the fucking room with you. The only reason she's not scared and freaking the fuck out by you saying that is the fact that she's not paying attention or possibly doesn't understand the implications of that statement. You straight up just admitted that you were considering a murder-suicide against your own child, no less, because they were harder to manage than you thought they'd be. I hope Child Services saw this video, because I would have loved to have seen the inquiry going on in that house, where they'd be checking on this little kid 2 to 3 times a month, just to make sure she doesn't end up being bruised or dead somehow under mysterious circumstances when mom starts making herself disappear. I mean, really. And the worst part is, Autism Speaks, the organization responsible for this bullshit fear-mongering propaganda, openly allows this type of platform to be spread. They allow this type of bullshit to be circulated and spread. They spread it around to make people paranoid so that they dump money into the fucking organization hoping to find a cure for something that's not even a fucking disease. Like, when you start saying that people need to be cured because they are different, that should only apply if they are actually fucking mentally diseased or physically diseased. It should not count just because your son or daughter has a hyperfixation or an incredibly obsessive pattern. Those are things that you can learn to manage as you mature. But the fact is, like, talking about your own kid this way in such a fucking callous way, where it's like, well, I contemplated killing them and myself, but remember, I'm a completely sane parent who's completely on the up and up psychologically. There is nothing at all wrong with my fucking mind at all when I straight up admit to thinking these things right in front of people, and I see no problem with it. Seriously, the organization responsible for this fucking video is even worse than the fucking parents featured in it, because they allow these people a platform to more or less sing the praises of its organization, while at the same time turning a blind eye to the fact that the people that the organization claims to help don't see a fucking penny. Seriously, Autism Speaks is not designed to really find a way to treat people so that they can better manage their condition and live with it like a functioning adult as they move forward in society. It's just designed to be a fucking fear-mongering campaign of propaganda and bullshit, so people that are scared shitless of their kids being like the kids featured in the video will dump money into the organization hoping to find a cure that doesn't exist. You're basically like fucking Ponce de Leon looking for the fountain of youth. You're about as likely to find it as I am likely to find a black hole in my backyard. And the worst part is, the people that believe this bullshit also believe in things like the fucking dumping bleach in your kid's ass bullshit to try to cure the autism. There are people that actually believe this stupid shit and actually do it. And like, yeah, poison my children. I poison my children so I can try to cure their condition. You're not curing them. You're just making them violently sick. And the worst part is they're too stupid to get it because they're so fucking hooked on bullshit that they'd rather dump hundreds of dollars into nonsense than maybe try to learn to manage their kids' symptoms and behaviors. The organization is directly responsible for crap like this because they don't offer any real alternatives or understanding. They basically just piss and moan about a problem they more or less capitalize on by basically pushing fear-mongering propaganda like this bullshit as a way to get people scared shitless that their kid might be this way. This video was nothing but a bunch of bullshit made up by greedy corporate assholes who are trying to profitize people having problems and then trying to portray it like they're attempting to do, like, be the white knight that's running in and saving everyone. They're not. They have no good intentions at all because all of their intentions are designed to profiteer off the gullible and the stupid. This video was a fucking dumpster fire, and whoever made this fucking horseshit, well, I know who made it. I know the dipshit company responsible for it. But honestly, the people responsible for sitting there and directing all this bullshit and letting these people say this, and they're just sitting there with a straight face, not even remotely upset with what these people are saying about their own kids. These people need a fucking pickaxe to their legs.